there, this is Mike Davin coming to you from Dealer Week, and I'm here with Matt Ginsburg from Huntington Distribution Finance. And we're going to talk a little bit about where the industry has been and where it's going. And Matt, I want to start off with the question, as we look back at 2025, what is your impression of how the marine industry was?
Sure. Well, Mike, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
2025, another challenging year, but we saw a lot of positive things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this year compared to last year, we saw dealers' inventories are in a much better position than they were. Coming out of COVID, the inventories all sold out, and then they were rebuilt, and then the market slowed. And so with that, aging crept up, supply outpaced demand, and dealers just had more inventory than they needed. Mm-hmm. And we saw a lot of work between the OEMs and the dealers to right-size the field inventory, and that's where we're seeing 2025 end. So, as the full data comes out as far as retail sales, we anticipate it's going to end in the high single-digit declines another year, but inventories are in a much better position. And then as we sit today, we expect a little bit of rate relief from the Fed, and that should also help dealers as they manage their cash flows from a floor plan perspective.
That's great. So challenging year. Would you say those are kind of the highlights, was where we landed at the end and some of that relief, or were there any other highlights that you want to point out?
Yeah, I think the highlights are, the OEMs are really focused on bringing, improved product, refreshed product to the market, and we've seen a lot of that. We've seen a lot of OEMs focus on more of a price point product. Mm-hmm. We've seen other OEMs focus on, what do the consumers want? And so, despite some of the challenges, I think there's some bright spots as well. But there's certainly, it wasn't the turnaround we were hoping for this year, but there are some signs that things are finally going to get there, and we're optimistic about 2026.
That's great. Well, speaking of 2026, we're at a conference, and the theme is Prepare for What's Next. So let's talk a little bit about what you see. Obviously, we can't forecast exactly what's going to happen. We can't predict. But what are your thoughts as we enter the new year?
Yeah, I think so. For 2026, again, we're seeing dealers in a much better position than they were to start 2025. And so, with the anticipation of a potential Fed cut, we're seeing a little bit more consumer confidence bounce back, and that's really positioning the inventory, the marine industry for a rebound in 2026, and that's what we expect. We do think there will be some more choppiness to start the year, but again, the groundwork is laid. The dealers are in a better position. The OEMs are in a better position as far as right-sizing production, and then with potential rate cuts coming in, we see a little bit more consumer confidence out there. There's always, the caveat that you never know the unexpected, what's going to happen. I think, for earlier this year, we had some of the same optimism, and tariffs really threw a wrench in the plans. But so far, again, we're in a better position overall than we were last year, and things continue to improve.
One of the other big topics of conversation here at the conference has been the pace of technological change, and that affects, obviously, our products and also the tools that we're using, and obviously a big topic of conversation has been AI. Mm-hmm. Does AI have any effect on your business?
It does. We are viewing AI as a bank. We're viewing it as a strategic enabler. So we're not using it or viewing it as a tool to reduce headcount or to find ways to eliminate people or anything like that. We're finding ways to make our people more efficient. And it's from everything from how we manage the business day to day, how we interact with our customers, and how we forecast and model things. So we're using it as an enabler, and we're seeing that across the industry. It's obviously a big topic of conversation, and we're just trying to find ways to make our employees and our whole team more efficient.
That's great. Outside of AI, are there any other technological tools that either you're using or that you're seeing dealers use lately?
Yeah, I think what a lot of the trends that we're seeing is we're seeing more connectivity everywhere. So we're seeing the OEMs looking at a more connected technologically forward product that they're putting to the marketplace, and how that all trickles down. So from innovations, I think we'll just see continued innovations. I think some of the ways we'll probably see dealers using AI is how can they better serve their customers? How can they better find that next customer? How can they interact with that customer and manage the customer from the initial signs of interest in their product all the way through the end of the sale?
Okay. Outside of technology, are there any other high-level industry trends that you're tracking?
Yeah, I think from a trend perspective, we're seeing some shifts to maybe some more of a price point product. I think we'll see despite some of the declines in the powerboat segment, I think PWCs have been a little bit flatter. So that's a sign of maybe some folks wanting to dip their toes into the market, but not have the spend required of some of the other product lines. We've seen the aluminum fish market perform pretty well. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. And before we wrap up, are there any specific announcements that your business would like to make to the industry as we enter in 2026?
HDF, so not only as a business unit, but at top of house, so at Huntington Bank, we're in growth mode. So Huntington Bank has made some key acquisitions, and we're expanding the footprint nationwide. So that's really exciting. So folks are going to start to see the Huntington brand, more and more across the country. So we're expanding into Texas, the Southeast, Florida, the Carolinas, Colorado. So some of the key growth states, you'll see that at the top of house level. And then for HDF, we're in growth mode as well. We signed some new key partnerships this year, so we continue to grow our OEM relationships and our dealer relationships as well. So we're in growth mode despite some of the challenges that we've seen in the industry.
Well, that's exciting to hear. Well, thank you so much for giving us some of your insights.
Thanks for
joining
having
me.
Yeah, it's been a
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank you.